In today's ever-changing society, technology is becoming more and more advanced. Everywhere that we look, there are people so drawn into their smartphones, tablets, and other devices that they're essentially ignoring the real world and what's going on around them. People are becoming dependent on their devices in order to communicate with those around them. Every day, there are increasing numbers of people who are creating new social media sites and just worrying about how many followers they have instead of their real life and friends and real life family. This is a serious problem. In the past, people communicated by way of telephone and face-to-face communication. Currently, people are creating more and more social media sites and more ways to communicate without having to even say a word. As online messaging and other forms of nonverbal communication are becoming increasingly popular, people's sense of actual face-to-face conversation is lacking, it seems. The usage of texting and social media does not need to be totally gotten rid of because there's plenty of benefits that go along with it. However, texting and social media usage need to be reduced because it is affecting communication skills, enabling catfishing, and making it easy for sexual predators to attack. Take a glance up from your cell phone and have a look around the room. Social media and technology are having a huge impact on the way that people interact with those around them, and honestly, it's not healthy. People today generally prefer to communicate via texting or social media rather than personal interaction. People would rather send a text message rather than meet up for a bite to eat with their friends. Regardless, this does not mean that human beings are becoming less social. In fact, people are becoming more social but are showing a preference for texting and social media rather than verbal communication. Even when in the same room as a ton of other people, many people still choose to sit with their head down and their nose in their cell phone. This is where the problem lies. It's becoming a social norm that when in a group of people that a person's not comfortable with, that they should just text or check Facebook on their cell phone instead of making an effort to communicate with people. Granted, these are the same people that before technology would sit holding a book over their face, hiding from the rest of the world. However, texting and social media are promoting this type of social anxiety, and the only way to help decrease this is to put the cell phone down and at least attempt verbal communication with those around. One study from the Huffington Post states that 45% of a group of 228 people polled at a college university felt a higher sense of anxiety whenever they were unable to have access to their cell phones or social media. There is a high sense of control and reduced social threat during online interactions. These have been indicated as reasons why adolescents may want to continue to find online friends rather than attempting to form friendships in a face-to-face manner. In addition, it is becoming popular for people to meet through online dating sites, chat rooms, or simply a social media site like Facebook. This type of communication allows people to form friendships and even dating relationships through text messaging or a chat box with someone and form online friendships. The problem with this is that in some cases it is easy to feel so comfortable with a person online or over the phone, and then once you finally meet the person, it can be potentially hard to form an actual conversation with them. There are some cases where people meet lifelong friends online. However, there are also many occasions where people can find out that they don't have as much in common with a person face-to-face as they did over their cell phone. While there are several negative effects of text messaging and social media, there are a few benefits as well. For example, people that struggle with cognitive and communication disorders may utilize mobile phone technology throughout their daily life. There's specialized software that allows these people that struggle with these communication disorders to communicate via their cell phones, even though they can't use verbal communication. This is a benefit in these people's lives. However, an everyday person does not use texting and social media for this purpose. Most people overuse and abuse technology and have begun to show evidence of increasingly low verbal communication skills. Nonverbal cues are a very important factor in the effectiveness of communication. One problem with text messaging being the major form of communication is that those nonverbal cues, such as body language, tone of voice, and facial expressions, are completely thrown out of the picture. This leads to a misunderstanding of the true meaning behind the point that someone is trying to get across. A simple statement such as "you don't understand" can be completely misunderstood and taken out of context without the nonverbal cues of face-to-face communication. A person could take this one sentence and think that the sender of the text was yelling at them when in reality they were simply asking a question or stating the sentence in a calm tone. This could lead to unnecessary arguments that could have been avoided if verbal communication was used to relay the message. Online profiles can also be used as a way to allow sexual predators to get a hold of younger children and teenagers. The use of online profiles as a way to start conversations with others has become an increasingly popular form of communication. This has potential to be a very good thing. The scary part about this is that people use online communication for the wrong reasons. A person can never be too sure who is behind the screen of another computer. Men and women of all ages can create a fake profile and pretend to be a young teenager, but in reality they could be a 40-year-old sex offender. It's absolutely essential for parents to communicate with their children the importance of online safety because younger people tend to be more trusting about online conversations. Although there are many benefits to using social media and text messaging throughout daily life, it's causing an increasingly noticeable change in the effectiveness of face-to-face communication, permitting people to hide their true identity online and making it easy for sexual predators to gain access to people's lives. All aspects with technology come with positives and negatives, but lowering the usage of social media and text messaging in daily life will greatly reduce the negative effects that it is causing. If social media were used for the purpose that it was originally intended, then it would be a beneficial asset in everyday life. It allows for people to connect with people who they may not get to see every day, but when it's overused, it takes away from the quality of communication with people that do interact every day. It is important for people to have a balance between their online communication and their verbal communication and be careful about who they're talking to on the internet. These types of precautions will allow for the full potential and benefits of social media and text messaging to outweigh the negatives.